Hey guys, Aleroart here, and today's episode, I wanted to have my first guest, creator, artist, writer, podcaster, really awesome dude. Reef Musallam is on today's episode, and we are going to talk about process of creating, how to market, what got him into making his creative own characters. This was a very awesome treat to have him on as my first guest on the show. We've collaborated many years of making comic books together, going to shows, and just been friends for a very long time. And to be able to see that he creates his own characters is a very awesome treat to, to see his style manifest and whatnot. So enough said about this. I want to start the interview. Cool.
Hello.
Hey, what up, dude?
What's going on?
I try to get Sharif on the podcast.
Well, you failed. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, it's cool. I never used this app. I just go through the website.
Are you using it through the computer or through your phone?
I'm on my phone right now. I figured this would be easier to go this way. But when I record, I use my recording program, and I just go to the Anchor website and throw it on there. Yeah. So, but no, it's cool.
And is it any echo on my side?
No, it's good. I think it sounds good. I don't know how it is on my side, but
no, you sound great.
Thank you. Everyone's like, man, these guys.
these guys. two scoops of papaya.
It's a Twinkies, man.
So I'm assuming right now we're recording right now because this shows, which I think is so funny that it pops up there. So I thought we were given a chance to settle in whatever and talk. But I'm comfortable with my masculinity as you are.
Oh, of course, man.
100%.
This lets you edit and stuff, right? Or
yeah, but you know me, basically I just want to just get in the habit of doing more of these, and especially learning this format of this Anchor recording.
Okay. Yeah.
I just thought it would be really, really cool. So so I just want to state, just to let people know that are listening should check this out, is I'm Aleroart. And this is my podcast that, talking about making comics as well as doing workshops and promoting your work. I just want to let you guys know I'm very excited to have my very first guest on Aleroart, Mr. Reef Musallam. And welcome, brother. I'm glad you are.
Hey, thanks for the invite. I kind of feel like I should have had sound effects to go with that, like some trumpet.
Yeah. Hockey goals.
Insert record scratch here. Everyone's like, man, these guys are recording together. Unheard of.
These guys, we are meth and red and meth, Starsky and Hutch, Tom and Brutus.
I gotta say Tubbs and whoever the other Miami Vice guy is that I keep forgetting.
Yeah, see, I forget that too. I guess everybody just thought that was a dude. Simon and Simon.
Say Simon and Garfunkel. I'm like, you've gone too far.
bring it right back around. So so basically I just wanted to ask just a couple of questions. I just thought that this would be really cool to have, and again, this is it's a real treat to do that, and I thank you again for and being able to be on here and stuff like that. So this is really cool. I guess I would ask just stuff on podcasting. How do you feel about this Anchor when you use it? How do you feel about that?
This is actually different for me because this is the first time I'm like not hosting it, but
Yeah, there too.
so this is through their program for recording, which I've never used. Like I have my own recording program when I do
Hmm.
podcasts. But no, I mean I think overall, just for and we're not getting paid by them, everybody. We should be, but I think overall,
Yes,
I
we
think the
should.
cooler concept of it is that one, you can record from your phone, so you basically can record anywhere. Two,
Yes.
like I think the more important, or to me anyway, in terms of growing your audience and everything, is that it distributes everywhere for you. So they'll throw it on Spotify, Apple,
Hmm.
Google, and like a couple other places. But me, it's like
Yes.
it's cool because one, anyone could do a podcast, which uh, like one comedian, Kev on stage would say, "Who cares? If there's a million podcasts. If you want to do a podcast, do a podcast."
There you go.
Then it's free, and then boom, you can put it everywhere. Like it's really that simple and easy to do. So, uh,
I love that. I actually did make a commercial earlier today that I'm embarrassed to tell you I did, but it is you can I guess if you get people listening to the podcast, you will hear the commercial of how I promote using Anchor, and everything you just said 100% is true. And I can't wait now. I can't wait to hear your commercial when
yeah,
you promote your.
I gotta make one so I could get paid the big bucks.
There you go, man. Putting cheese on those burgers.
Yeah, but I mean, like like podcasting. I think and I know this is a podcast about making art, but this is a similar concept. It's just another
Totally.
avenue to put yourself out there. Your brand, your name, and all that. I mean, granted, this is a vocal thing. You're still presenting yourself and your quote unquote business out there through this means. So why not?
100%, 100%. This is that's totally true, and especially with this, us being in quarantine to be able to um, create while we are, stuck at home, and like you just said, another way to promote. And I will always tell people that listening to you do your podcast, I am just motivated that I just to have something in that realm. But I always let people know I'm like, you're the guy that sparks to get me to go and make stuff like that. So enough of that. Enough of that jibber
That
jab.
tomfoolery.
That's
Hey,
really cool. The tomfoolery, yes. So yeah. So basically, with this, I just want to ask like just random questions, and we just talking about creating art because you are as an artist creating material. You have your own store. You do shows. You do art events. You paint. You create your characters. You have them in all forms of, say, like on apparel, as well as pins. And if you can, just let us know your website and talk about these awesome characters that you have.
right. Yeah, I didn't even go back further to I started off working with you as a writer.
Mm,
Um
yeah.
and then just one day you're just like, man, why don't you just draw it? I know you could draw stuff, so just draw. So
Yes.
I was like, okay, because I mean it was really as simple as that. And
Yeah.
I think in terms of just doing, I mean, there's always creativity, right? Like I think that people, regardless of what your genre is and all that, writing, drawing, whatever, it's you have to have some sort of
Hmm.
creative outlet. And like that, I think was the starting point for me. You're like, why don't you draw? So then I was just like, okay, so I'll just draw stuff, like and I think most of it I've had on my Instagram, like at Reef Musallam, and you can see the progression. Like, all right, this dude can't draw
Hmm.
too. Like, it's getting better, getting more details and all that stuff. Cause I just started getting
Totally.
more, I'd say confident. Yeah, I say comfortable and confident about stuff. But overall, I think
Yes.
the thing that with that is like I've never been afraid to look dumb, if that makes any sense, or to
No.
fail, anything like that. So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's literally like you're like, hey, why don't you just draw? I just said okay and just went for it, and that's literally like that's the attitude I think like a lot of and not that I'm putting myself in that caliber, but a lot of successful people are just they're not afraid to fail. They're just this whole
Yeah.
process is working stuff out. Like you start getting into like once again like you, we all start somewhere and then you just start building on it. Like if you keep working on it and keep
Uh,
going. So uh, I
totally.
don't know how many years it's been now, but I got my characters like
Yeah.
Leroy, Trash Panda,
Mm.
Terwilliger, and just a lot of it is just lack of better terms. It's like it's just stuff that I have fun doing,
That's it.
and
That that's awesome.
in terms of and I got a lot of cool supporters and fans, friends, and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that just adds to like to me that's all bonus with that kind of stuff. Like the overall number one thing was just getting the creativity out there. And
Yes.
so, like like you were saying, so that led to, hey man, why don't you just put this on a shirt? Okay, so,
Yeah.
so that led, and that's where you start looking at things like, all right, cool. Like from a business standpoint, like, all right, what's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
easiest in terms of like a setup, and then so there's no. And this goes into the business sense of all this. Is like, what's going to be the easiest thing to me to do? Set up an online
Yeah.
store, which you can find many places for free.
Yes.
Find printers or uh, printers or like item makers that you can connect with and create the things you want to create. So like I think the first I don't think I did shirts. I think actually the first item I made was actually a patch. Was
Wow.
the Trash Panda character? That was the first item I think I made. I mean, outside of like books and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
with that, it was just looking around. I don't know if we're gonna get into this, but a lot of people don't want to tell you where to go
No.
or like suppliers or like, oh, you can go to this printer or you can go to this person.
Yeah.
So with that, I remember, was that before New York? The first time I went to,
I think
I
so.
think it was somewhere around the
Uh.
time or something. I just wanted a patch. I don't have no idea why, but I'm like, I want to make patches. So, like, I'll
Yeah.
just start with the track panda thing. So
Mm-hmm.
literally all it was is like, all right, let me Google and find a place, and then like check it out, what they do, and like ratings, all that stuff. And I found a pretty uh, cool place. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And
Yeah.
that's how that went. But I think it's like with anything, and to tie it back to the art and just like the drawing or getting into drawing and then eventually painting. It was just you gotta want to do it basically.
Yes.
So
Yeah. There's no half-ass with it, right?
right, I mean a lot of basically everything you keep hearing me say is just like why not. So it's just like hey, you should draw it.
Yes.
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
So I go for it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So let me just keep going. So to go back to the store stuff, it's like there's stuff out there, and I know that's like a very intimidating uh, point or like thing for artists or creative people. If you're writing or doing other things, music, whatever. But I mean, there are avenues outside of what you think or how it should work. Like you don't have to stay for t-shirts, whatever. It's not the days where you have to
Yeah.
print up like 500 t-shirts and then you put out thousand
Yeah.
dollars or whatever it is, and you're stuck with it if you don't sell them.
And sticking them in the window to keep warm in the winter.
Use them as oven mitts, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of things.
Merry Christmas.
Oh man, he made that shirt into underwears. Oh no, but
Yep.
I mean that's the thing, man. I think like a lot of things I get, I'll say frustrated, not necessarily with myself, but with like other creators. look at it, I'm
Yeah.
like, there's all these avenues to get your work out there.
Yes.
If you look. And then the other thing
Yes.
is if you're motivated. So
If you're motivated, that's the thing, and how you want to step out of being in that norm and just want to create. And I think for you, that was writing, and I know you always were like just drawing, but to have it, you printed out the books, having paintings and everything like that. It's like it just was always there. It's just that we're always assumed that we're doing supposed to just do one thing and that's that. But I like the fact what you have done was you just went without needing to be told. And I think that's a lot of issues with people feeling that they could only do. But we're in this day and age that you can cut out the middleman. You can, if you can draw, then why do you need to have this other person? And it's great to collaborate, but still, you could still be more creative as the individual, if that makes sense.
yeah, it does. I mean, I think
No?
I love collaboration's awesome to me. Like do podcasts or like just write. I think like a lot of my collaborations right now is just like I like editing and like proofreading and that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Mm.
Or even like
Yeah.
brainstorming like ideas. I'm like I know like sometimes not sometimes, most of the time you're telling me I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I have this idea for that. Like I fully enjoy like being engaged, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, no, totally.
Yeah,
No, no,
I,
no, it's
I proofread like everything, even like someone's homework for paper assignment. Like, all right, I'll look at it. Like I don't
yeah, yeah.
like I just find it, I like the mechanics and stuff, but like the I don't know, like sometimes, and I know we've had this conversation before. Is it's that I think people will have an idea, but then they don't want to put the work into something,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's a fear or that's just I hate to say it, laziness or something, but
I feel like that's like a break. It's like a break they need to, it's always like, am I doing it? And like, no, just go with it. Just go ahead and just create. And I feel like there's a lot of that when you're trying to get people involved with that. But if you can just say, hey, you know what, I figure if you're busy or not, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to knock out some stickers. I'm going to make these pins, and I'll come back later when to ask. But I think there's a lot of that where people do freeze up and think they need to, but that's here or there type deal. So
yeah, I think I think there's a lot of excuse making and stuff, but then and I'll toot my own horn and yours. That it's
there
like
you
it's
go.
never been a fear to try something. Like it's
Right.
never like I can't swim, but I'll jump in the ocean or in the pool. Like
There you go.
and people, my wife probably gonna be laughing hearing that, but because it's true, she'll be my witness. Like, yeah, this dummy jumps in the pool and the ocean. I went body
There,
surfing. I can't swim,
there you
but
go.
like I'm not like there's not that fear, right? Like there's not. It's just like, all right, cool. Like I want to try something. Let me go for it.
Right.
And
And
and you could be realistic for stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be like say you're scared about the money thing, like you should be doing some stupid money sort of thing. That's where you research and like look into it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of
yeah,
people, I think, are they just come up with these fears where like if you keep looking into it, like okay, I can't get this done, or I can't do it this way, or you
hmm
know, like say Kickstarter. Like
yes,
Kickstarter's been around, I don't know how many years now, but look how many
yeah,
projects have come out of that, and
yeah,
and that's one of those things where it's just like I think people, and I'm getting to the business side of this, but if you're an artist and you got to figure out what you're doing. Like if you're just doing it for fun, that's one thing.
right,
But a lot of people that we interact with or talk to, it's just like they always ask, like, how do you get how do you set up a store? How do you do this? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And and I know you are too. It's like, I'm more like, hey, this is where I go. This is where I get this done. This is where I get these kids or
Yeah.
whatever. But a lot of times I don't know how often that pans out that they actually do it.
Right. Oh no, totally. I mean, I would say there's an even amount. I know there's always I could always tell when someone's like I call it sneaky talking. I'm like, just say it. Just like are you trying to work on? Oh no, I just had this question. And I'm like, well, is it if it pertains to something, maybe to answer it, I could answer it better. But if you're just talking like in in tongue, then and then later on finding out like that's what you're working on, that's what you're doing. Like, oh, you could have just said that. So I run into
Yeah, I
that
think
a lot.
the
So
other I'll say a death of someone's ideas or whatever is that they do comparisons to other people. Like I don't.
oh yeah,
Uh, this is just me. I mean, I'm sure other people do it too. It's like there's no comparison to anyone other than, oh, how do I get that done? Let me see how they got whatever done. That's about it.
yeah,
Like there's no, I don't care. Like you're
hmm
a better artist than me. Gladly admit it. Like I don't care. Like
right,
it doesn't bother me any
yeah,
because one, I'm confident in what
yeah,
I'm putting out there, in terms of my brand and material, and two, I'm having
yeah,
fun with it. So why should I be bothered? So to me, it's just like, it's
most definitely.
I know a lot of stuff is like, oh, that that you see shirts, like I said, the patches. I must have seen something like, oh, someone had patches out there. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to have a patch of my character, and stuff like
Yeah, yeah, and why not, right?
exactly. Yeah, we
Why can't you
got
do it?
patches, we got enamel pins, and, all that stuff, and it wasn't
Hmm.
the like I think the quote unquote artist part about it was actually finding a place. And that's it.
Oh,
Like it's
totally.
just like, hey man, if you I think and this then this is a life lesson here. Like if you want to get something done, you gotta do it. Like you get it done.
Yeah, yeah. No half-assing.
No, no,
No,
no.
yeah,
And especially I
yeah.
think the interesting part too is like with at least people I say I talk to or I know people you talk to is like they got someone who's supportive. Like I support most people. Like,
Yes.
all right, yeah, that's what you want to do. Cool. I
Hmm.
that's probably where I ask most questions. Like, what are you trying to do? This and that, and and like, hey, it's guide them. Like, yep, that's doable. This, do it. So I don't.
Yeah.
I need to go back to that. I don't know why people drop it and don't do it. Like for the people that don't do it, um, other than like some sort of fear or like lack of confidence in themselves. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's all out there. Like just anybody, like even if you can't draw, you can make a shirt, put it out there.
Yeah. No, totally. You always hear that story with a person who just started off with the some basic design, but was able to at least get the ball rolling with that, and then you get other people that could come in and execute better to make things stand out more. So you just have to just start off. But in this media right now, in time, you get everything delivered to you. You can make making stickers, and like I just can't imagine like last 10 years to be able to do stuff like that, but now it's more common. So especially with this pandemic, I feel, and I'm sure you agree with this too, is like you can have stuff delivered, like sent out, and somebody can have it, and they go to your site, and you're making a product. So that's awesome. Like you don't have to go to the store to print out a towel or a cup. People are buying from
And
your
it's so
store,
automated
and
too.
that's the thing of
That's the
so yeah.
good for both the person that's buying from you and for yourself. Like it's pretty much outside of like your original artwork or like maybe some products that you have at your place like pins or whatever products you made
Yeah.
via other means.
It's pretty
Yeah.
much all automatic. So if you're looking at like once again like the t-shirts, there's print on demand shops that you could hook up like your online
Yes.
store to, where everything is from the handling of
Mm-hmm.
the money to the productions to the sending it out. Like you don't really have to do anything other than create your design and put it on the shirt how you want it, all on the internet. So
Yeah.
there's really no excuse for this for
Do
not.
you do, do, do you feel that because of quarantine, you think that's something that people are going to be gathering right now, or do you still feel like it's like are people still needing to follow or do stuff that's already exists? Why can't they just create their own Trash Panda? Why can't they have their own Alley Cat? Because it's interesting to me especially like I could do the Funko Pop style of Alley Cat. People will dig it, but they're just like, I don't know how to take that.
I think now,
So
yeah, I mean, like
what
that,
is it?
and it's probably a dumb quote or thing to say, but like now we all have more free time, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yes.
There's less travel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me put it this way: the smart people have more free time because there's less travel and all
Yeah.
that, like
Yeah.
socialization and all that kind of like in person. I would say
Hashtagging living the best life.
extroverts are kings during all this, kings and queens during all this, but. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I know we've had multiple conversations on this. Like, to me, it's like this, 2020, and even this year, it's like, this is like try everything. Anything,
Yes.
like, hey, I got
As you should.
time, so let me try something new. Like, I think, and maybe I'm crazy, but like, I don't know how many different ways I've drawn Trash Panda. I mean, I usually do them in like these cosplay type scenarios or whatever, different scenarios. But I'm like, oh, just like, what
Yeah.
do you look? What would he look like doing this or that? And that's just a very simple, like,
Totally.
all right, what if I draw this thing differently? Um, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that, like I think the thing people are missing is adaptability. Just like this whole
Yes.
lockdown pandemic thing is like you had to change your way of just daily life. So
Yeah.
I think to me, and I'm sure to you, it's just like there's something that clicks in your head, like, all right, let me try something different. Now, whether it's an artistic side, like, all right, I'll try different styles, this and that, or it could just be like in what you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
do, like, all right, cool, let me try. For example, pandemic. All right, I made masks. You made masks because one, it's an
Yes.
essential item. Two, it's like another way to get your branding, characters, etc. out there. So why not? Like, why
Mm-hmm.
did it click in people's heads? I don't know. But to go back to the earlier comments, you have all these things online available to you, where it's really an automated setup where you can get this stuff out there. And
Yes.
to me, and this is like where I don't compare myself to others, but I'm looking at what people are doing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, how did they do that? And let me look for
Yeah.
ways to get this product or that product out there. And even that, like, if you got, let's say even a follower, if say you're not really selling anything, you're just getting into it, but you got people who follow you or support you and all that. You can ask them like, hey, what are you guys
Yeah.
like looking into? Because you can audience to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You oh, we want new
Oh,
hats or
totally.
shirts or
And
whatever.
and
So
to get yeah, and to get them involved, that's even a plus for both because you could agree on this one is it makes them feel right. It makes them feel more connected,
yeah, it's
like
part of their
they
product. It's
to get them
basically,
involved with
and
it.
take whatever fandom you're into. Like, you're into Star Wars, like they clearly,
Yeah.
movies, TVs, they have target audiences. They do like audience member panels, or like, oh, what do you guys like about this? What do you like about that? And they work with that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
Mm-hmm.
just think of whatever your favorite fandom is. Whether it's Star Wars or whatever else. Uh, there's reasons why you like it, and that there's quote unquote fan service. added this because they're like, hey, they want
Yeah.
they want you to be invested and and go along with it. And I think the same is the same with your own products and characters and all that. Like I've had I've asked talk to people, oh yeah, what do you like about this, or say Trash Panda or whatever. I've had the opposite too, like, oh,
Yeah.
what don't you like about it? Okay, like once
Yeah.
again, everyone's entitled to their opinions and all that kind of stuff, but you kind of get you're still going to do what you want to do, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
still. I think for me, it helps with my own recognition, like of what's working really and what's not. But overall, I'm still like, this is fun to do. So that's number one thing too.
Yes. Totally.
Uh,
I think that's most
yeah,
important,
if
like
you're
you
having
said.
fun with it, it's something you want to do. Um, and of course, there's other works that you get paid to do, commissions and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think with that, you have to realize that people are hiring you because they want you to do what you're doing. And if you're having fun with what
Yes.
you do, that's not a problem.
Nope.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the number one, I guess, problem for a lot of people getting into artwork is they don't see the business sense of it until it's too late. And even with like
Oh,
and when I say by business, I usually mean like decision making. So I think that's where a lot of people stop themselves because their decision, like, oh no, I can't do this, or they just don't problem solve enough to work out whatever their issue is. If that makes any sense.
okay.
So I mean, like
Yeah.
overall, it's you're putting like I think every single like whether it's a musician or an artist or whatever is they're a business. Now you don't like to look at them like that, obviously, but it's basically you have to look at how am I putting myself out there image wise, and then like what I'm trying to do, and then I'm doing. Like the
Right.
creativity is always going to be there, right? Like you're going to make something, but like I think people don't develop like, well, what am I doing with this? That's why I always call it the business
Right.
side of stuff. It's like, all right, cool. Like you got something. What are you going to do with it? That,
And how do
yeah,
they, like,
exactly. I
right?
mean, you can
Like,
like, and we all get there,
you
right?
know.
You all get to a point. You're like, okay, how am I going to do what I'm trying to, achieve my goal or whatever it is? Um, I don't know. Like, I think it's just like I think once again, motivation and and investment. Like like all right, cool. Like once again, broke a record on the t-shirts. Like cool. What's the easiest means for me to get a t-shirt out and this and that, and and I think if the we weren't on top of it before, but the pandemic has shown is like people buy online. There's a print on demand places, this and that. You just had to put two and two together, and you could get to that you want.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I think to me, I look at everything, and maybe that's the wrong word, but you always had to have a business sense about things.
Yes.
If you're not selling anything,
Totally.
just you got to have a plan and then execute it to get it going. Like, now will it be successful all the time? No, but hey, if you tried it, that's where you learn. If you failed, like, okay, that didn't work. Cool. What do I have to do to change it?
Right.
But overall, just make a plan and then research it and then just do it. And and
Wow.
and that applies to everything. That's a life lesson.
Mm.
Welcome to my TED talk.
Yeah. Yeah, you're walking around dressed as
Yeah, so
Steve
I mean, I
Jobs.
think maybe that's the I'm like I am wearing a black turtleneck, but
And white sneakers.
but
Seinfeld.
no belt for my jeans,
Yeah.
but no, but I think and I think that's the you know thing that people probably even get overwhelmed by. And that's why we don't see people
Mm.
doing Kickstarters or putting out products and all that kind of stuff is they don't I think they assume too like you put too many assumptions on things. Like, oh, that's gonna be, like I said, like they're still in that, oh, you gotta buy 500 t-shirts. And, and to me, it's just
Right.
like the pandemic has shown you there's everything you can order online, on demand, print on demand. That should be how you change your life for, just from a social aspect is like you should be like, oh, okay, cool. This is how I change it. This is how I could still like. There's no more conventions. There's no more currently anyway.
Right.
I like physical, like in person, physical conventions to go to. I stress that, but
Yeah.
all these conventions, they changed their game up. Like, cool, virtual meet and greets, virtual hangouts with the artists and
Right.
famous people and all that. If that's what you're going to conventions for, like they're like, all right, cool. How do I make money? I can't physically be at a place. Can't get people to a place.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much, I would say, from the start of the. So I think the last quote unquote major convention was C2B2 that we were at.
Yeah. It was last year. This time it was
Yeah, and
the
so there was
last
a time, things
convention.
got canceled. There was a period of time, but then how quickly did these major, conventions switch it up? Like, because I was,
Yeah.
this is canceled, but we're gonna have, so and so, this date, this
Right.
time, whatever. Buy a quote unquote ticket to, go online. Um,
Yeah.
they reach out to artists, to have panels and all that kind of stuff, and it's. Well,
Mm-hmm.
they adapted quickly because once again, the business sense, right? I mean, I know that's a convention, but at the same time, they're promoting, and those artists and companies like Marvel and DC and all the big names there, they adapted. Like, all right, cool. Like, you're seeing movies, streaming. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the thing, man. And once again, I know that those are more like businesses because you look at them as businesses, but that's no different than what you have to do. Like, all right, like I can't go draw at a convention. How am I gonna,
Yeah.
do the same thing? How am I gonna get my product out there to more people and all that? Like, you have to have
Right.
be adaptable, and then you have to have a plan B. Like, and I think,
You know. Just to add to that, and just to let everybody knows that listen to this. Sharif is wrestling head, and when he talks about wrestling, he explains the storytelling. He talks about like the motivation, and I could be wrong on this, but when I see how you are motivated with things, you have that gift of talking it, and all I could think of is like, man, this guy is talking like as if he's how they talk in wrestling. Am I anywhere in the ballpark of that?
yeah,
Like, do you when you see those guys how they market, do you pull that
oh,
with
exactly.
your
It's
promotion?
I mean, it's so like it's pretty crazy because a lot of the so once again, right? So wrestling, I'm a big wrestling fan. I think I talk about
Yeah,
wrestling like just about every phone call or conversation.
every phone call, and hey, let's just say that any podcast you are talking about
Right.
wrestling. So this is a
Gotta break.
podcast and you are talking about it. So sorry to break that record. I'm not talking about it. You are going to be talking about wrestling
Right.
in there too. So I like that segue of KFAB.
Shout out to our nephew who was on a big show. But
There you
I
go.
mean, so once again, man, like a lot of and this is going to be on a purely business standpoint, but we're talking wrestling. So a lot of their
Yeah.
money actually comes from like live shows. So
Right.
I would say about uh maybe 80% of their money was for wrestlers and companies was to put on a show, various
Yeah.
locations everywhere. That's how they made their money.
Totally.
Pandemic hits, you can't be somewhere in person, or one because deadly virus, and then two, state
Right.
laws and all that stuff. So what they did, Plan B. A
Yeah.
lot of them, even before the pandemic, I would say, not a lot of them, but before the pandemic, a few of them would go do Twitch shows or YouTube or social media, like whatever platforms
Yes.
it would be on. They would go on there, and so they adapted, right? So they would even something as simple as like hopefully I'm not insulting anyone, but simple as playing a video game and just recording yourself playing a video game.
Right.
These guys
Yeah.
are doing to keep their base, their fans, their supporters, involved. But then you would go there, let's say Twitch, for example, you get donations there. I think YouTube, you could do
Yes.
donation type stuff there. The other thing that blew up, Patreon, which
There you
Patreon,
go.
look them up, Aleroart, Patreon.
There you go. Patreon.com/Aleroart. Thank you very much. Thank you, Reef.
Yeah, you got to plug everything, man. You got to plug everything. But so
that's it.
The money that a wrestler would make at a live show, selling shirts, autographs, all that kind of stuff. These guys, regardless of what you think of wrestling, were like, how am I going to, one, keep myself relevant, and two, how am I going to make that money that I would normally make? If not more, you make it more accessible to people online,
Yep.
And, so they switched to that. They switched to, live streaming. I know I bought a couple autographs. I just got Terry Funk's autograph, which was cool. He did like that. He did a virtual, meet and greet type thing. So I mean, that's the thing. So like, look at once again, whatever you think about wrestling, you can think about it, but those guys adapted on the spot. So now they're doing TV shows.
Yes.
I'll just use WWE for example. So they can't have people in there. So what they do, they set up the stadium. They set the stadium one place and TVs where they had their fans sign up to be on these TV monitors around the stadium. So you see fans, and then they're putting in noise, so it's like a real deal, like a normal wrestling show. I mean, obviously you're seeing people on TVs, which is different, but they adapted. It's taken out. Like the online streaming, Patreon, all that kind of stuff. That's the adapting people should have made, even just to
Yeah.
And if it, and once again, motivation, like what are you trying to do with your art and all that kind of stuff. So, but even that, skip. If say, oh, that's too much for me. I don't want to be, streaming this and that.
Right.
They kept their social media, constant.
Yep.
I don't know how many artists do this or not, but in terms of wrestlers, they were just post pictured and asking a question.
And to your credit on that, connecting that as everything that the Reef is talking about right now is you can definitely use all that when you're doing the comic book scene, though shows and stuff are not going on. Virtual is the key. You can do the autograph, you can do all that stuff that pertains. I see when Reef talks about that, that's basically like a comparison, and that's what I think is, I think that's a real key that's going on right now. It's like how to use, and I just think that's definitely something that I see what you do when you are promoting your work and your art. I could hear the wrestling announcing about your work, and I think that's my visual even when I try to, if I can't be at a show, I could still try to promote and say, hey, you could still get something because people still want that, that appearance in that form. And you mentioning the wrestling in that sense, I just feel like that's.
Yeah, I mean, and
you could use that.
You got to keep that same hustle that you would at a live convention that you would. I mean, it's just a new avenue. Like I said, like at the beginning, like, hey, you're doing a podcast. We're doing this podcast right now. It's a new avenue. Yeah. Guess what? If you came up to the table, we would talk to you probably the same way. If you asked us these questions or not, and we probably get a wrestling joke and whatever else. Like we do that. I don't know. Like I said, man, like adaptability is like, I think it's definitely
it's a key that you need to.
I don't know, like, and once again, depending on age and all that, like, we started doing conventions and all that. It was like oh, I have to go work for a major company, or I have to go, for Marvel and all that.
Yes.
Like that would be,
Yeah.
like
That's the place to
now,
be.
while that
Yeah.
would be like a dream job and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like over, I don't know how many years now since it's been, like you're saying, hey, you don't need a major company. Like your Kickstarter, you can
Right.
do this on your own.
Totally.
I think, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's just like you're not successful unless you're drawing for a major company, but you can add much or not more doing their own, like just on their own. Like I don't think, I don't know who like stands
Yes.
out to you, but like, like I know that like he's worked with with pretty much every company, but Mark Millar. Like, do you go like, oh, that's a Marvel guy? Do you look at
Oh
like
yeah, he
no?
would
You're
be
like, that's
one.
him. Like, look at all the stuff he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say the Eric Powell of what is it? The his character that he a self-create character, and he had his own press, and he started off and he jumped over to like Dark Horse, and then he went and got his other it's just it's looming over my head right now. I keep thinking wanted to say the Haunt, but it's not. Oh man, my brain is just broken
The
on that.
Goon.
But Eric Powell's forgive me, your character, the Goon. There you go. The Goon was the.
Just,
I don't know why I kept saying the Haunt. Sorry,
leave us slow. It's late. We're
quarantine,
old.
guys. It's quarantine. It's messing me up.
But,
Yeah. Johnny Pie's alive.
but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Eric
Lizard
Powell's a
lips.
good example too. Like, go like, oh, it's Eric Powell. He's a, this company or that. It's just they.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah,
He
I
did.
mean,
He
but
worked with
he's
all the
basically,
big publishers.
I don't know what the right word is, but kind of like Stella, he got his groove, and he made it work for him. I mean,
There
that's
you
the thing.
go.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't think. I
Yep.
mean, sure, there's certain like artists or writers are like, yep, that's this, whatever company, that's a Marvel person, or that's this or that. But at the end of the day, you got to
Yep.
look at these other people and artists, creators. You got to see like they don't need like they could do it all on their own, and they figure it out.
Yes, and I think if you are creative in that sense, and not to say that some people just want like to have the fantasy just to draw Spider-Man. That's all they want to do, and that's cool. But then you have a person who does draw Spider-Man, but then he is able to go ahead and draw a singular character like that, and create like Spawn, Todd McFarlane to be able to do that. That's that kind of thing, and then that's just being independent and creative, and I think that pertains a lot to what we're talking about, altogether, as far as just being like an entity of your own and to create. I mean, you have a gallery of characters that, they can interact, and it's just really cool. And, when we do shows, there's just a variety that when we can go to, say, a Pennsylvania, New York, anything for like a library show, I could just see people that that the characters that you create, people like can interact with it, and it's just an awesome feeling. And I say it from the perspective of, yeah, that guy. He has his characters. You should check it out, and not even having to say anything.
Yeah,
It's
I would
just
say I
like, all
think
right,
that
cool.
pride that people
So
know you by your
yeah,
character, as opposed to like, they're like, ah, that's
yeah.
Alero, that's Alley Cat. Like, oh, it's Alero. He drew Spider Man, or he drew this or that. Like, you're known for your own,
Yeah.
material, your own brands, and
Yeah.
I think that's once again, I don't know, I don't know where it's taught. Where do you get that idea? Like, oh, you're not. Your whole goal is like you have to work for a major company that's been around, or it's whatever. It's not that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't, and I think more of us, how we interact with each other tends to, the word is, iron sharpens iron, and the worst thing to that I feel like is to be told by your peer that, you know I don't want to be told like, oh, that's wrong, unless it's like a crazy idea, like in a sense. But then again, anybody who creates is their own form of, like, me creating a cat with glasses. That's just like, okay, yeah, sure. So it's been done before. It's, the guys before me. It's just they just believe in it. You believe in your character and you believe in your content, that it manifests, and to be able to see it in the next form is exciting. And whenever the shows do pop up, I know for a fact that you have material. We all do, and I think one of the things that, because I wrote down a list of things that we're to talk about, and you answered pretty much them in the sense of like, I'm like check mark, and I'm like, yep, Reef just said that. Oh wow, that's cool. So I'm still learning how to ask questions for
I do too
podcasts.
many
So
podcasts,
thank you
man.
for your
That's my
patience.
problem.
No, and that's awesome, man. It's a thing. It's a thing that, you inspire me to want to do stuff like this, and I know vice versa. We just have this. You just want people to win, and both of us are just like that. Like, there's no reason not to. It should be that positivity of that, and it shows. And when you hear a naysayer say, "Yeah, I don't get it," or "I'm not buying that," it's like, all right, cool. You'll see it next time, and they do. They'll come back and like, "Oh, I didn't believe it at this time," and this and that. And when I see how the stuff that you make on your site, and making characters, as a dog lover, that's so cool that you have this market to be able to have on your site, that people can get your artwork and then have it on there. So that is so cool. You again, you check out his website. Everything will be posted on there, and I'm gonna have I'm gonna have Sharif plug it again.
I don't even.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I don't.
this is just
Like, I'm
something
always just like,
that's
man, what is my website? Yeah, you could pretty much all social media at Reef Musallam, and then my store is storeenvy.com, or no, reefmusallam.storeenvy.com. So yeah, I'm bad at marketing, but
mm-hmm,
to go back to it, like, I think, back to wrestling, because why not? I've always said and once again, it's all business sense,
totally.
but I always looked at like whatever, or even like movies and TV shows you watch and stuff. Like, the characters and stuff you like is because there's uh you could tell that whoever's doing it is doing what they're doing. Like, it
Mm-hmm,
shows. So the same could be said about your
yeah,
artwork and like what you're trying to do. Like, I think people have fun, like with your character, say Alley Cat, is they have fun because they're laughing and stuff, because they could tell that you're what you're putting into it, as opposed to like, here's a drawing of Spider Man.
yeah,
Like, while technically be like, oh, that's a cool drawing,
mm-hmm,
I don't think anyone's gonna be like, man, that dude really loves Spider Man and this and that, and like, there's just a difference. Like, I mean, but it's all like what you put into it and what you're trying to do with that. But
totally.
like, I think that's the, I think, to go back to the other point is, like, when we talk to people, I usually ask them what they're trying to do. Like, that's my number one question. Like, whatever product,
Mm-hmm,
like, say you got a book idea, or some wild idea. I'm usually like, all right, what are you trying to do with it? As opposed to question, like, why, like, why are you doing that? It's like, oh, okay, what's your idea?
yeah,
Okay, but and regardless, like,
mm-hmm,
whatever you feel about it, like, oh, this is really wild or just boring or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just like, all right, cool. What are
right,
you trying to do with that? And that's how you work on it. Like, that's, I think, another thing people don't get
mm-hmm,
an aspect of looking at things. It's that you have to figure out what whoever that's doing it is trying to do. again, you can have whatever idea, some crazy
Right.
story, that I'm like, that's wild. And it might not even, once again,
Yeah.
I'm not your audience, right? Like, you can be like, making this story,
Mm-hmm.
for, say kids, for example, you do like kids books. So I'm like, I know I'm not
Yes.
the audience. Like, I'm not, underage kid, even though I act like it sometimes. But to me, it's just like, all right, cool. Like,
Mm.
what are you trying to do is like the things you guys have to keep in mind, either when you're listening to someone or when you're trying to do something. I'm like, all right, cool. I got this cool story. What am I doing with it? Like, that's the number one question to answer. So to
Right.
me, like, you can, once again, man, and I go back to that comedian Kev on stage where he said, about the podcast. There's a million podcasts out there. Do it anyway. You got a story and you think it's great, do it
Right.
anyway.
Right.
Why not try it? But once again,
Yeah.
game plan, the business sense, I keep talking about. What are you going to try and do with it? So I think that's what people.
Mm-hmm.
There's not stuff that just happens. Like, there's work that you put into it from the creative standpoint, and then from the selling standpoint that you just had to
Mm-hmm.
have in your mind. Like, all right, this is a game plan.
Yeah.
That was all long-winded to say
That's
by my
awesome.
stuff.
That's so true.
Store heavy. That guy.
That's it. No, totally. Okay. And these are going to be kind of my personal nerdy questions, and I know you're going to laugh at me for that, but whatever. What is important for you as a creator? Like, when you create your work, what is it that you what wakes you up and say, hey, I got to make the sticker? What is it that you draw the picture? I know personally our personalities are cut from a line that we can finish each other's joke, or you set them up and I'll knock them down, or vice versa. It gets us in a lot of trouble with a lot of people that have to be in different rooms because we are. But just to share with people to check this out. What's important for you as a creator creating your content? What is it?
I think so what makes me do it? Like, well, one, it's just, you said earlier, it's just the fun. Like, there's just something where I want to see something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just say, whatever character. I'm like, yeah, I wonder if this happened. And it's just an idea where it just, I don't know. It just one, like, first and foremost, and it's going to maybe, and hopefully all the artists have this, is like, I want to entertain myself. So, like, I'm like, all right, like, I'm trying to entertain myself, like, or make myself laugh. And then two, and we all have friends. To me, I'm like, let me try to make this guy laugh. Let's see what he says about it. So it's stuff like that.
Totally.
And I don't know. Like, you could just, I think there's always that you do. So one, it's a fun thing. So let me draw this. And then there's always with anything, and I know you do this too. What can I do with this next? Like, there's always, it's like, all right, what? Like, yeah, I did a drawing, but what can I do with this? And, one, it could be out of fun, or two, once again, business plans. Like, I think this would be cool as a sticker, or this would be cool, Like, there's a lot of times where I've drawn something, I'm like, you know what? I want to paint that. See how that turns out. Like, there's just that there's just the fun, and then the curiosity of, like, oh, if I try to do this with it. And, and from the earlier conversation about the patch, that's how the patch came out. I'm like, you know what if I made this into a patch?
Okay.
It was just like, I call it curiosity. I'll put that term. There's just that curiosity of, like, where can I go with this? And
and I think that shows. So
I mean, like, once again, like the wrestlers, like your favorite wrestlers or your favorite actors or what, sports, your favorite athlete, you can tell they're into it. And I did a segment earlier, and
in a previous podcast, and it was just basically saying the fire in your belly. That's something in you that you have, that you are like, no one's telling you whether a pay or not. No one's telling you out of like, hey man, you got to draw today. It's something that it's in you, that you show that you love. And when you do like a cosplay-ish theme with them, it's just something that shows like that passion. And you're painting, or you're doing something
Right.
with the sculpty. It's just in you. So I think I think you just said it like for like curiosity. And it's like, I think that's what's great. And I think that's what
Yeah,
gets people that don't understand.
the motivation and all that
When you're
too.
doing
Like,
stuff
it doesn't
is,
even have to come from something like I'm doing. Like, say you're drawing something, it could be like I heard a song,
yeah,
or like, I got friends. You got friends that are
totally.
bands and all that. They put out a new song or recorded a new song, and like, hey, check this out. Like, that's inspiring to me. And that's not
Yeah,
if you want to call it a competition, maybe, but not really. It's not I'm competing with anybody. It's just like, man, I got to do something. It's once again, but not
oh,
like
okay.
it's not. I don't know. I don't want it to be a competition sounding thing, but I just get inspired by somebody doing something. I'm like, man, that's
That's
cool.
good.
Like, I got, like, it just gets one of the things. And then, and what it is that you like to do. I like to draw Trash Panda. So once again, it's like, oh, cool. Let me draw a Trash Panda,
Yeah,
and
very
whatever
awesome.
comes to mind at the time. It doesn't even have to be related to what, you know, someone's doing or anything like that. It's just one of those, or it could just be as simple as like, I watch an awesome show right now. Man, I got to draw something. Like, it's just that fire you were talking about. It just inspirational to, and I don't want to sound like a competition or
Hmm.
nothing, but like, man, you put out a funny, say alley cat thing. I'm laughing. I'm like, man, that's cool. I got to do something. It's just an inspiration. It's just an
That's
inspirational
good,
thing. And
man.
like I said, I don't
That's
want to come across as a competition or nothing like that. It's just, man, that's awesome. Like, I want to do something awesome.
I and I think that's that part of us that I always look at it as iron sharpening iron, is just to be better. And by no means, I know I always have it in my other podcast that I just very optimistic about stuff. I know you are like that too. You just like, there's no animosity when you see another person that makes something, like, hey, I want to just do it too. And look, who for speaking for myself, to be able to say to do apparel, and you do apparel, that's awesome. Because at a time, when can people do that? When can you be able to do this print on demand and all that stuff? This is like, I just think it's just really really cool to have your characters on there. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's very interesting, as in this day and age of being a creator. And what motivates you to do that? It's you are a curious man to be able
Yep.
to see it manifest. You made your I applaud that you got your 3D toy made. That is so cool. Like, you guys see it on his site, see it on his Instagram, and stuff like that. It's
And
just
once
really
again,
cool to
yeah, I
have
mean,
this all
it
manifested.
was,
So
once again, it was
I
just
think,
one of those, and then that, once again, that competition done that. But, you did it first with the alley cat, and I don't know how many years ago. And I'm just like, you know what? I got to
hmm,
do that. And the funny thing is I had the
why not?
3D designer to the podcast interviewing him. And I go, you know what? I should just do it. And then,
Yeah,
that's how that got it. I said, oh, why not?
yeah,
It's just a curiosity. I mean, I guess that, the long-winded answer to that. It's just that curiosity of like, all right, what if I tried it? And once again, the common theme,
that's
why
it.
not? So, I mean, you just have to have that
Yeah,
curiosity, of, seeing where things go, man. Like, that's basically maybe that's the simplest way to put it. It's just like, all right, cool. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no risk. I mean, to me anyway, there's no risk. Like, what's the risk in you drawing something? Nothing. So, I mean,
no,
I don't know. It's just that's just it. It's just to be curious.
Yeah. You hit it right on the mark with that, and it's definitely. I think it shows, and it shows to be able to just be curious, and a lot of people keep looking at the breaks, or they're looking at the what's the next stop, for asking you, do you feel like when people go about a manual, do you feel like that's what it is, like? Because I feel like in this game, to do your own comics or do your own creation, the market's different now. So I think it's, for myself speaking, I feel like it's a trial and error. And I like the word, how you said it, be curious about it, just try it, because nobody's literally doing it or explaining it. So, to take a word how you said it is just go with it. And if it doesn't work out, you don't feel bad about it.
Yeah,
just as long as I try, right? So
you can look up whatever famous quotes and all that, and inspirational quotes and whatnot. They always tell you, like, the only way you learn is if you fail. You can't fail if you're not trying. So
yeah,
my
right.
or whatever you want to call it. We've had this conversation for years about, I'll just say Artist Alley, no one in particular, but it's like, when you talk about the manual, is people there, a lot of them are just like, I just have to have a book. Okay. Like, to me, it's like, all right, cool, you got a book. Now what? Like, never, I don't know, I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but like, I don't think, I'll say it's a high percentage, but I don't think the number of people that you said, like, well, I'm going to do this, this, and this after this book, like, not very high. It doesn't really go beyond like, well, I got a book. I'm like, okay. Like, so does the other, 300, 400 people here. They all have a book too. And not to diminish what you've done and the work you put into it and all that, but like, to me, it's like, how did your curiosity or your business sense stop there? Like, that's the marvel, to like a marvel, like a curiosity to me. I'm like, I don't know how you stop there, especially you clearly go to, say, a convention, or you clearly made this book or whatever, whatever genre you're into, music, whatever. Yeah, you did it for a reason. What was that reason? And where did you see it get bigger? And, maybe that's just being, simplistic about it, but I mean, it really is that simple. If you look to a lot of, like, say, McFarlane, well known, I would probably understatement, well known, or he started and everything, but no one thought, oh, McFarlane, he's a Spider-Man guy. Now they're like, McFarlane, he drew Spawn, he's got his own toy company, he's doing Kickstarter, like, he branched out because he knew, like, he just, he had to see, whatever as the next stage. So he had to see Spawn as a toy. And what did that, like, oh man, I made this cool toy. Yeah. Now what? Okay, I'm gonna do sports toys, like he did the NFL and baseball, all those things. Yeah, he did all the, like, they all they all signed up, like, hey man, we gotta have you make our toys. Like, this is and I'm not trying to simplify him in any way. This is a comic book artist, and look where he's at now. Because in his mind, he's like, why not? And what did he do this past year? He did a Kickstarter to do a Spawn toy. Did he have to do that?
There you go.
No.
And another platform.
He did it, but he wanted to see, what if I try it? Nope. Like, that's literally his curiosity.
Yeah. The part that I laugh about that, and it's like a little mention on that, is people get mad that he's like, oh, he's a millionaire already. Why is he in this Kickstarter? And I find it funny because why not? It's not taken away from anybody else. He just happens to be able to use the tools that he has, and it shows. And you know, you can't go to stores, or you could go to stores. You can't go to conventions. You can't do this thing, but why can't you use this platform? So I applaud him, and I know you and I were talking
Yep.
back and forth,
Got
and
that Kickstarter.
ordering. It's just yeah, it's just like it's like the part that I find funny is that you guys look at him as this millionaire, but you don't look at his ethic, his worth ethic, his worth ethic
Yep.
to be able to. He got it done. His stuff is being shipped out right now. He's not doing anything that's it's like you take away his money or whatever, but he's still using his gift. And if you, as a creator in Artist Alley, just to bring this all back around, are you just making a book, or are you just, are you thinking outside? Are you thinking of your brand as an octopus? And does this have legs? Can this be animated? Can it be a toy? Can it be, a stuffed animal plush doll? Endless possibilities. A patch, a pen. But just to add to bringing it up, it's like you get people and they're like, "Oh, I just saw it as a book." No, you made Twilliger, and you have Trash Panda, and you have them all in these different forms, and I applaud you that you were able to get that, to do that kind of stuff. So you as a creator, I think it's really cool to hear how you think outside of the box of not having that fear, and then and using the word again, curiosity, and you're just curious. And I just think that's how if you were to give advice to younger creators or people that want to create,
It's
any advice
literally
there
you just
in that?
gotta do it. I mean, it's really that simple. Like it's so like
Okay.
and that I was quote unquote make fun of myself. But I'm like, yo, if I'm doing it, you could do it. Like I said, the art work. I mean,
Right.
literally, and honestly, it's you told me, hey, why don't you draw it? Just draw it. And I said, okay. So now, like, if I look at my first thing I drew, I'm like, man, that's terrible. To now, like, I mean, I think what separated, me from other people is like, I just keep doing it. Like, I just keep drawing. Like, I just like, all right, let me draw daily and draw.
Right.
I mean, I still hate drawing hands. I got like the Jack Kirby hands going,
Yeah.
but it's like I make fun of it. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. But to me, it's just like you can't really get anywhere or get anything done if you don't do it. So to me, it's like, if you got an idea, say you're a writer
I like that.
or you're an artist, like I want to start simple. It's just like I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna draw or write a simple sketch, a page or two, whatever. Like, okay, like to me, and maybe this might be the other part people don't get is like you analyze what you did. Like, okay, I like that, and I like that. Like why didn't I like that, or like what could I have done differently? And then that's your attempt number 2. All right, that's better, but there's still stuff I don't like. Attempt number 3, like you'll get it, like if you keep working on it. So to me, it's just like you get an idea, just do it. Like get your first, if you're a writer, get your first, quote unquote crappy script out the way. Like, oh, let me work on it. Let me make it better. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. Let me work. Here's draft number 2. All right, that's better. Yeah. Draft number 3. I mean, that's all you gotta do is do it. It's garbage. It's garbage, but like you can go up from there. Like it's as opposed to I didn't do anything. Yeah. So for young creative people, just do it, man. If you want to try something new, try something new. If it works, it works. If not, you can figure it out how to make it work.
I think that's a good a really good answer on that. Well, I think I got to ask your questions, and I know you answered in the form of explaining. So every time you said something, I did a check mark, and I mentioned that before. But yeah, dude, I don't have anything else to say. I'm very happy that you were able to be on here and explain I think these things are really good to know. I know I definitely want to do another podcast. I want to be on your podcast again, so we could go ahead and do. You'll come up with some questions and you answer
yeah,
that
for sure. Yeah.
on your
Once again,
podcast.
this
Is
is
that
attempt
cool? Can we
number
do that?
12 for us.
Yeah.
So we'll get it. We'll get it right at some point.
And I think just to walk away with this is just like you need to be creating content, and for you to be creating content where you have your store, you have the audience, you have at the times when we're doing the shows, having things at a vendor and just be creating, that's just really awesome as a creator on. So I just want to ask, can you plug your sites again,
Yeah,
and we could
yeah,
wrap this
all
up?
good,
And
man. You can find me on
is that
social
cool?
media, Twitter, Instagram at Reef Musallam, and then stores at reefmusallam.storenvy.com, and you can find all the different items, shirts, blankets, all that kind of fun stuff there. So cool, and thanks for checking me out.
Awesome. I want to thank you, bro. This was really great. I'm very excited for this, and I know definitely we'll be doing more of these videos, audios. I don't know why I say videos, but yeah, it's audios because I'm looking at the when you're
Hey,
recording.
you
I
know
think
what? That
it's
could be attempt
being
number 2,
video.
man. We
So,
start doing like Twitch
and
streams or something. So
there, I see, and and this is the part where we're going to be laughing and more so not getting the stuff done. But I think definitely. But yeah, bro. I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for answering your questions and of all these things about your character and
All
continuing
right, man.
on and rocking out
Thanks.
with that. So cool. All right, brother.